And then, yeah, let's get started. Okay, so
Great.
my first question for you is, can you like kind of describe your creative process when you write new music?
Yeah, usually I receive music from a producer that I'm working with to write to. And so it's just like a bass track. And I write based on what the music speaks to me, like how it speaks to me. And so like on my last single, How Does It Feel? Or my one of my most recent singles, when I heard the music, I just immediately heard in my head melodies and lyrics. It took me like 2 minutes to write the song and like 30 minutes to record it. So usually that's pretty much the process. I mean, if I do hit a challenge while writing, if I get stuck, I just try to get in flow with it, take a drive and I listen to it, or however, just to access that energy.
Great. Yeah, so I actually just listened to that and I love it. That was
Yeah.
yes, of course. And then I watched the music video for it. So my that kind of leads us into my next question.
Yeah.
What vision were you trying to encapsulate when you made the music video?
Well, when I wrote the song, I was feeling this like desire. I had this desire in me. Um, I would like admire other couples when I'd be out. I would just admire like the affection and what felt like love to me. And I don't think it was later in the pandemic, but still, it was still during this time that we've been in for a couple of years now. And so I started just feeling that need and that desire for that human connection. And I'm like, how does it feel to be so connected to somebody? Like, how does it feel to like just be so into another person and experience that heightened level of love, that. So when we came to to film the music video, I wanted to show that. I wanted to show that intimacy and human desire and, love, all, kinds of love, whether romantic or not, can be expressed between two people or, between people um, in many different ways. It could just be like, like in the video when the guy comes, have very close moments. And that is like a form of intimacy when you're just like with the person and maybe you're not speaking, but, there's an energy there that fills you up and it feels really good and it sort of heightens you. So I just wanted to show that, like I was in like in the beginning of the video, I was in my own space, my own imagination, imagining like how would it feel to have that, and then I show later having that.
Yes, definitely. So kind of like going back and like just getting some background, how did you know that you wanted to become a musician?
Well, it was at a very young age. I was like 7 when my mom put me into vocal lessons. I used to memorize all the Mariah Carey songs and perform them for her friends when they come over. And then her friend was like, you need to do something with your daughter. She can sing. And I was just a little girl, like having fun, but it really turned into something. And I remember writing my first song. I don't know what age I was. I was really young again. And that was about like saving the world and healing the earth. And I'll never forget that song. That was the first song I ever wrote. And so later it just like grew into a serious thing. I recorded my very first demo. Um, Later on, like when I was 18, 19, and then went to music school for a few years where I recorded my first album. And I got to work with some awesome, amazing artists. And it just, music for me, that is like, there's nothing else for me that compares to it. So when I'm doing music, when I'm creating music or performing, it's so natural. It comes naturally through me. So it's effortless. I mean, of course, there's challenges on the business side, but on the creation side for me, it's effortless. And that's how I know it's my thing.
Absolutely. I feel like when you find something that just clicks, like it just should flow out and not be something you should really work hard to like keep up with. So I love hearing that and I love hearing other people's like passion for music. That's why we're all here. I love it. Um so my next question kind of like So the question is, how do you balance working as a musician and other aspects of your life? Because I know sometimes everything gets wrapped up together and it gets hard to juggle each one. So how do you balance that?
That's a good question. Yeah, I have a like personal routine that I implement consistently twice a day. It's a form of chanting meditation that really grounds me. And I do a lot of studying in that realm, just trying to fill my being up with just the limitless potential and the limitless capacity that I believe that we all have. And I really internalize it more. That's where I first start within me, and I first then go to like my mindset and like my perspective and my outlook. And I just keep in my mind that I got this and I can do this. And it's totally challenging. Like I hit challenging moments where I'm like feeling overwhelmed. I'm exhausted because I have a million things going on. And then I still need to like be present for I have a 4-year-old. So I still have to be present for her when she comes home from school. Not have to be, I want to be. And so that means like cutting everything else out. So it's all about me and her. But I find that if I set the intention every day and I stay super laser focused and I take care of my health and then I find that everything starts to like just kind of flow in like a rhythm that works. And when there's obstacles and challenges, I can better navigate through them.
Um, so my next question is, what's the best piece of advice another musician or somebody else in the music industry has given you?
That's a good question too. Let's see, to not blame others for what doesn't work out, and to be myself. And the first piece of advice came from my first music director for one of my bands a while ago. And he said that because I was blaming others. I was like, this didn't work out because them and this and this. And he's like, no, like take responsibility and know that, to do the work, like do the work that you need to do to keep things organized or keep yourself ready, to keep training. And so, yeah, that was huge. At the time, I don't think I heard him, but, you know, later throughout time, I began to realize like he had a really good point there, so that's one thing. And then, what was the second thing? Oh, be yourself. Yeah, it's important to like, it's so easy, especially with social media, to compare ourselves. And I've definitely done that for a while. Like, oh, look what they're doing, or they look how they look. And that's super easy to do. But I just try to remember that like it's only one me, there's no duplicate of me. Um, and so yeah, just be myself, keep going.
Yeah, no, and I definitely resonate with the first one. Especially just growing up, I feel like a bunch of our parents tell us things, we don't pay attention, and then we grow up, get a little bit into their shoes, and they're like, "Oh, like our parents were right."
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I definitely love that. And then kind of like a follow-up question for that, what advice would you give upcoming artists?
I've been thinking about this actually, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've had so few recent experiences that like I think I would love to share with other artists. But now, like we have as independent artists, I'm independent now, we have so many resources and so many tools at our fingertips to create a business from our music. So if any artist wants to make money and do music as their full-time career, and that's it, I would encourage them to get into the business side of it. What I mean by business side is start seeking out resources and learning ways that you can start bringing in income through your music. And it's so possible. Like the idea of the struggling musician is like gone. It's far gone. And each artist can completely create opportunities for themselves, and they don't need a label or even a manager. I mean, they may need like partners and people on their team to, hold down certain roles and like outsource some things. But, start thinking of your music as a business and get into that mindset. And it's gonna definitely benefit them.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's such a recent trend nowadays, like especially with mass media being so easy to access, I know a bunch of artists who are just doing everything on their own and independently. And I think that's really cool because you can say that, oh, this music's all mine and not touched by anybody else.
Mhm.
And when it makes it big, that's definitely something to be proud of. So yeah. My next question is, how would you kind of describe your style of music?
See, this is something I always struggle with because How Does It Feel is R&B, but it's the first R&B song I've ever made. So I've always like, I used to call my music urban rock, and now I would say like pop, R&B, alternative, but like that encompasses so much. So sometimes it's hard for me to describe it, but like it was always an elements of like hip hop, electronic, like trip hop and alternative rock. Like I love electric guitars and I love like fat, heavy beats, you know, like I grew up in LA, like West Coast hip hop is in my blood. So it's in me. And I grew up, like my dad was a blues singer and my sister, who I thought was the coolest ever when I was growing up. I watched her shave her head to heavy metal music and Prince. So like my influences are all across the board. So my upcoming releases are gonna show more of that diversity because I can't help but to create in that way. I just can't help it. I'm like, but it's interesting and it's an interesting experience now because when people hear How Does It Feel, it's such a clear category of R&B. So I'm learning how to work each tune within its own categories, I guess. But yeah, so that's how the best way I can describe my sound.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I feel like like a hard question to answer, especially because like you don't really want to put yourself in a box and like be stuck with this certain tune, and you want to have your music kind of reach everybody. If they don't like one of your songs, like they might like another because it's completely different, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
What would be your dream artist to collaborate with?
Oh my gosh. I wrote this down not too long ago. So two comes to mind. I always dreamed of working with Trent Reznor and Timbaland. Like I thought if those two can produce a whole album for me, it's gonna be crazy. So I'm putting it out there.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we have about two more questions.
Okay.
Um, this one, so with live gigs,
Mhm.
um, do you get nerves before going on stage? And if so, how do you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, I do. I get nerves every single time. Like no matter if I just performed yesterday, I'll still be nervous today for tonight's performance. And it always happens like right before I'm gonna hit the stage. And what I realized is all of that energy of like being nervous or feeling scared or whatever, that's all just like building up inside of me and it just explodes on stage. So once I'm on that stage, it's like that energy gets like sent elsewhere and then it just leaves me and it turns into something else. So before I step onto that stage, I just say like a little prayer or a little, some words with my bandmates and um, of gratitude. I just tell them like I'm so grateful for all you, and I just speak whatever comes through to my heart and express gratitude that we're all there and we're able to do this amazing show together, and let's all have fun. Let's all just get up there and have fun. And that's how, I'm able to still step on the stage each and every time.
Yeah. I feel like at least I'm not a musician, but I've heard from other people that those nerves kind of turn into adrenaline and keep you going, which
Exactly.
I think is so good. And I think that's like how you know that that's for you, that those nerves don't carry on while you're on stage.
Mhm.
But yeah. So the big question, what's coming up next for you?
Yes, what's coming up next? So I just released two other singles and I'm planning the next music video. I have like two for each song. I have it all in my head. So I just have to write it down and get it scheduled. And then some live streams. So I'm going to be doing some live streams and live shows like in my area. So I'm really excited about the live streams because it's a first for me. I think I did one live stream show on somebody else's show, but not like on my own consistently. So I really want to get that going. And I'm preparing for that now. And I have some merch that I'm designing literally all morning. I spent uploading merch and getting that all arranged. I'm really excited for that because it's 2 shirts in particular that have some, I'll let you guys see it, but I'm really excited to share that. So those are like my immediate upcoming things.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time today. We loved having you. We're always looking for great new artists, and you came at just the right time.
Great.
And yeah, we're really excited to see what you come up with.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. This is really fun. And I'm so happy that we were able to do this. And thank you for having me.
Right, of course. Let me